Good evening, everyone. I welcome you all for Secure RAS, an ethical hacking workshop brought to you by IET on Campus, University of Peradeniya, in collaboration with IEEE Robotics and Automation Society in University of Peradeniya. IET of University of Peradeniya is the student branch chapter of the Institute of Engineering and Technology, a global network which plays a major role in the career development of engineers around the world. IEEE Robotics and Automation Society is a student branch of one of the most recognized and respected global organizations in robotics and automations. Secure RAS 2021 was organized by us to give you an awareness about information security. On 17th of June, just 3 days ago, the very first webinar of Secure RAS was held successfully with more than 350 participants. On that day, our participants were given 2 tasks to complete, and we are happy to announce that a lot of you have completed them. Those who filled the feedback forms and completed the tasks, don't forget that we will be giving you a valuable certificate. And just a kind reminder, please fill the feedback form for today as well, and you can direct any questions you have to the link we will be putting up on the chat section. So, today, on day 2, today also we will continue to take you further into the world of information security. And today also our guest speaker will be Engineer Thushara Deshapriya, a well-experienced security engineer focused on software security, who is currently a principal engineer on application security at Pearson Lanka Private Limited, a visiting lecturer at University of Colombo on information assurance, security, and IT law, and also a co-founder of Colombo Secure programming. So, without further ado, I would like to hand over the session to Engineer Thushara Deshapriya to carry on with the day. Sir?
Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Hope you guys can hear me clearly. And thank you for joining today's session. We had the first session, I believe, last Thursday, and it was like we spent about 2 hours, a lot of information, and we couldn't focus more, or like we couldn't go into like in depth of each and every issues, but very high level we covered the issues, and then we talk about like what are the main issues. I basically focus on injection attacks and basically the SQL injection and cross-site scripting. We did a small demo, and cross-site request forgery we did, and I believe clickjacking also we did a demo, and invalidated redirect for. So maybe five, six demos, small demos we did. I believe like you have probably you got some idea, and each and every issue we need to spend like a lot of time. And if you take one particular issue, we can talk about like weeks about that issue, how that is happening, like what are the variations and what are the possibilities to attack, or like what is the damage, possible damage for each and every scenario, right? So this is kind of a journey, like I said, and you have to understand and learn every day about these things. So today the plan is, first we'll talk about the tasks that we those are not like very difficult tasks, but let's talk about that, and with that I'll take like maybe like a couple of issues, and we'll talk about a little bit more. And also, if you have questions, we can talk about it. And also, like, I would like to talk about some of the mobile security related stuff, right? And especially the Android. Um, not in depth again, like very high level I cover, because last Thursday, we talk about the web application and related issues. Today we'll have a very high level introduction to Android application, and see what is Android application is, and what is the APK file, and probably like we'll try to reverse APK file and look into the code, and let's see how to proxy the traffic also. Like today also we'll look into this proxying part. We'll talk about that last Thursday as well. So that is the high level sort of agenda for today, and we see how it goes. I'm trying to cover it as quickly as possible today, because I know today is a Sunday. Probably it's a holiday for you guys, and maybe you guys are angry because we are having these sessions today. Okay, so let's see how it goes. First assignment is the Python one. Couple of guys send emails to me, and it seems like the question wasn't that clear. I'm not sure, but okay. Let's see. Why I why I wanted to have this example is, uh, especially because like most of us are trying to invent our own solutions, right? Which is really a bad practice, right? Because why? Uh, I mean, I'm not saying like we are not smart enough to come up with a solution, but it's just a matter of like how sophisticated our solution is. Uh, Especially like when it comes to cryptography and everything, we should not try to invent our own solution, especially for cryptography, and also for other solutions. For example, injection attacks. I mean, we can think of like adding a lot of validations, and then having a protective mechanism, our own one. But I believe, like I said in Thursday also, if there's a problem with our solution, it's our problem, right? So we have to fix it, and we have to spend time fixing it, and even like verifying our own solution is very limited. Like only you will verify, and your colleagues will verify, or maybe the QA department of your company will verify, and after that, no one will verify. But uh, if you think about the standard library out there, uh, you know, like a lot of, like, there are so many people, entire community is there to verify, and so many companies are using that solution, and it's well tested, and so many people are depending on that solution. It doesn't mean it's 100% secure, but what I'm saying, the entire world is depending on that solution, right? For example, SSL, right? Probably you know that we are using SSL for secure communication. Now we use RSA algorithm, and if there's a problem with RSA algorithm, right, entire world is having a problem, right? So definitely they will come up with a solution, right? There are so many experts come up with a solution. Uh, so if it is your own solution, if someone hacked it or cracked it, then you have to go back, and it will become your problem. So it's best thing is to not to invent a solution, because you don't know, uh, you know someone will always come and crack. Someone will always um, come up with some creative idea to bypass your logic or whatever, right? That's the whole idea. So um, let me share the screen quickly. I'm going to share my entire screen. So if you see any pop-up or anything, just ignore it. Cool. Can you see the screen? Can you see this notepad? So ready pad.
Yes, we can see.
Cool, cool. So this was the this is what we gave, right? Um, just assume that someone wrote a solution to fix the cross-site scripting. So cross-site scripting is basically you, instead of a regular input, you put a basic JavaScript, right, as the user input, and it will go on a round trip and come back, and you're trying to display that user input on the page. And when you try to display it on the page, the browser will understand that whatever that text as a JavaScript, right? Whenever browser see a JavaScript, it will execute that JavaScript, right? That is the default behavior of the browser, right? So you cannot change that default behavior, right? So browser will understand JavaScript and execute. Browser understands something as HTML, it will render it. That is the natural behavior. So here it's the same. So what this developer is trying to do is like, okay, since it's a JavaScript, I'm going to remove script tag, right? So that's his solution. So if this is the input that someone is entering, so he will basically remove the opening script tag and closing script tag, right? So this this will be a better implementation. Um, so let's assume like this is the function to sanitize whatever the user input, and this is the input. So our target is to have some sort of a input to get this as the output, because if you're getting this as the output, we know that it will work. I mean, cross-site scripting will be there, right? Because this is the input that we wanted to put into the text box, and this function is removing everything, and we are trying to cheat this function, or like manipulate this function in a way that we'll get the output as a JavaScript, valid JavaScript, right? So I believe so if you run this, right? Uh, that's what. So right now, based on our input, it will get only the alert, right? So uh, you know it makes sense because it remove everything, right? So you can try with so many you know solutions here, right? So you can put space and see. So right. So now you can see your method is unable to remove because you put a script, you put a space here. You can see whether this is working or not, right? You can see whether this is working or not. Um, in here, so you can put it here and click the search. So seems like it's not working. Right? So if you remove the space and then see whether it's working. Okay, we'll remove the space here. It's clear. So this way, like you can do some trial and error. Right. So now it's working, but let's assume like you put a space, so it's working again. But if you add a space here, is it working? Still working, right? So, but if you put a space here, okay, it's not working. So what you need to do is here, one solution is you can put, you don't need to put the space here. You can put a space here and here. Maybe it will work. So whether this works. I think this works because we tested already. Okay, so it works. But let's assume like the developer fixed this also, right? So he removed all these spaces, right? And he managed to remove it, right? Let's assume that he managed to remove it. Now let's assume that somehow developer fixed that issue. So what happened is basically like you find a way to bypass your validation, or like someone else's validation. Let's say like your colleague is doing this and you're testing it, so you find some method to bypass it, and he will start fixing it, right? So he will, let's say like, let's assume that someone comes and like, okay, validate that whatever space in middle space, and remove the spaces and remove the script tag. uh, so one creative way of, I mean, there are so many ways to bypass this, but uh, the most creative way, like, is to bypass this is this. Right? So you get the script tag and you put this in the middle, right? And closing tag also, uh, in the middle, just like this. This is the most creative way of bypassing this, right? So now if you run this, basically you will get the exact script tag, right? So this is the most, I mean, the clean way of hacking into this, right? I mean, there are other ways like putting a space or something, like you can, right? So this way, right? So now you need to think how we can improve, like, how to improve this. Okay. So then you can think of like, okay, you have a loop inside this function, and you loop within the loop you remove, and you check again whether you have script tag. If you have it, and then you again loop it, right? So you can loop and then fix this problem, right? So, but the reality is like cross-site scripting is not only about script tag. So that is the reality. Why I'm saying is some people think cross-site request, cross-site scripting is just about JavaScript, right? And that's it. But it is not. We can use any HTML tag. I think Thursday also we saw that any HTML tag, and any event you can use it, right? So for example, you can have the div tag here. I think we already did this, div tag, and we can put something here, and we can add events, right? On mouse over, something like this, right? And we can put an alert box. This alert box is just to see whether it works, right? Otherwise, no attacker will not come and put an alert box. He will do the actual attack. So
Excuse me, sir.
yeah,
There's a problem with the sound, I think, because what you're speaking, we can sometimes hear with high
oh,
volume, but then sometimes the volume drops.
sure. Okay, I'll keep my mouse close to the mouth. Now it's fine, right?
Yeah, now it's fine.
Okay, cool. So these events, right? We can go with these events. So it will basically, when you like, it will work with the event, right? It's better than earlier, right? So we add on mouse over event here. So it will work. It will fire up the alert box whenever we mouse over the div tag, right? Or else, like, you can put an image tag. I mean, any tag is possible here, right? Any tag is possible. I mean, you cannot stop attacker, right? So that is the thing that you need to understand. You can't say, okay, please don't enter image tags. No. So if you put a message saying that please don't enter any HTML tags, first thing people will do is they will enter HTML tags and see what happens, right? So you can see empty image tag is there, right? And we can put on error event, right? And put a alert box, right? So like this way, sometimes it works, right? You can see it works because this will try to load the image because image is not there, so it'll fire up, right? So so this URL you can copy and send it to your friend, right? So and maybe like you can try to redirect your friend to a different site, or like uh, you can try to deface the website, like remove this completely the inner HTML of the div tag. You can try. So the damage of this issue, right? Like I said, the attacker can trick you and redirect you to different website, or like attacker can install a keylogger where like he can capture every keystroke when you're typing, and time to time send the information to the attacker. All right, we call it like, let's say, like command and control center, like attacker used to communicate. That is possible. And also, if there are like situations like if the attacker wants to steal authentication token, he can steal it because it's in cookie somewhere inside the cookie. And if the cookie flag is not set, we talk about the flags, HTTP only flag. If it is not set, attacker can steal the cookie, right? So this vulnerability, very basic, right? If you look at this is a very basic vulnerability, and everybody know about this vulnerability, but still the applications are vulnerable. But now we have the frameworks like that, Angular and everything. So these frameworks, they by default apply the protection, but still there are things like the template injection and everything is there. So really, I mean, we should be really careful about this vulnerability when we are developing the software, right? Or like any application. How to test? I mean, user inputs. You need to try every possible combination and try that out, right? Okay, so that's the task one, and I just wanted to talk about the cross-site scripting thing also. Okay, the task two is to install this juice shop. I believe it's not that difficult, right? All you need is a Heroku account. Um, it's not a big deal, and deploying is not a big deal. It is like just a button click, right? And I'm not sure whether I'm using the latest version or not, but it doesn't matter. uh, if you have the latest version, that's fine. So the next task is to log in, right? So log in with SQL injection attack, right? Otherwise, now you can create a account and login. All right. In fact, like let's create an account first, right? So email, uh, let's say, okay, uh, this thing, password, right, repeat password, security question, like, okay, mother's maiden name. I believe you understand these security concerns of these security questions as well, right? So um, you know, so let's assume like my daughter has a Facebook account. Let's assume like or any other account. So if her question is what is your mother's maiden name, is my wife's name, right? It should be, otherwise I'll be really disappointed. So the security questions actually really dangerous. You know, I mean, you can get to know about these family members and everybody, like, if your friends and colleagues, about their mother's maiden name, father's name, and brother's name, and everything, like, a lot of personal information. And if you even go to social media, Facebook and everything, your entire life story is in there. So finding this information is not that hard now, right? So the security questions are extremely dangerous, right? So let's try to create account. Okay, so now we have the account. Let's try to log in with the created account first before we hack into the system. We need to see whether we can log in. So we can log in, right? We created account and we logged in. So if you go to your basket, this is your basket. So you can see abc@a.com. That is your email address. So now the target is to hacked into this, like, SQL injection, and log in. So we said, like, we talk about, like, okay, so maybe this is asking email address. So maybe it is validating uh, whether that's the email address or not. So you need to think about, like, adding some email address, some form of email address, and password. We're going to have a single a code. So I'm going to enter something like this. Um, I'm going to enter something like this. So XXX and single quote, right? So let's assume. Okay. So this is what I'm trying to enter. So you can say invalid email or password. It's nothing happens. Right. So that is the important thing. Nothing happens, and you can see. Okay. Uh, okay. Uh, See, now we can see these password textbooks and everything, right? You know that HTML properties, we can change it, right? Uh, I believe ID. You can see type is password. So when you remove that, you can see the password. All right. So now you can see when you put a single quote here, nothing works. I mean, so username also there. You can put a single quote here also, right? Right. So now you can see, you know, the error comes, right? So which means, like, the password attack is not working, right? Username attack works. Sometimes that happens, right? It based on the application, and we talk about, like, if you're not getting this error, there is a chance. So some attackers go with the blind SQL injection, which means, like, they do uh, time gap and everything, some analysis, right? So here now, our target is not just to get in, but to understand this, right? That is our target. Maybe if you are a attacker, then your target is to get into the application. But we are learners, right? We are trying to learn here. So if you look at the error message, you can see clearly this is a SQLite database, right? And if you go down, there is a SQL statement is also there. Like, you can see select all from users, which means the table name is users, where email address. This is where the error happens. Right? You can see two single quotes. So that violates the syntax. And password is, you can see uh, some sort of a, string, right? So, um, this seems like they are not putting the plain text password here, right? So that's what we need to understand. They are not putting a plain text password here, some sort of a hashed password. So this is how you need to understand the application. So you need to understand in the backend, right? So we don't know the backend code because we don't have the code. Uh, so we need to understand, okay, in the backend code, before they concat the plain text password, they hashed it, right? So they hash it and concat. So that is the thing that we can extract from here, or like infer from this error message, right? So and you can imagine, like, there's no point of trying to attack the password, because doesn't matter whatever you put, they will hash it, right? Hash it and put it. And the same time, you can think of, like, even though if you grab the database, entire database, you cannot just figure out the password, because in the database also password should be hashed. That's why, like, they do the same hash, and hash match, basically. You do the hash match, right? So either you can try to crack this hash, like try to understand what is the hash, and what is the algorithm, or like things like that. Are they putting a salt of for the hash, or whatever, right? So that is one a branch of your analysis, right? But simply what you can understand is, okay, there's no point of attacking the password, but we can still attack the username, right? So that's what. So let's attack the username, right? So here, what you need to do is, like, so you know the syntax, right? SQL is statement and password equal this, right? And you can see entire SQL statement, like, without breaking the syntax, you can add, right? So there is an and condition here, and here what you can do is you can put O condition, and 1 = 1, right? So 1 = 1 is always true, uh, and let's see what happens, right? So still you're getting error, all right? And so password equal, and you can see it's basically there is a single quote here, right? Because this single quote, we didn't do anything, we break it here. So we can put within quotes, and we can put like opening quote, and closing quote will come from the original statement, right? So now let's try. It says still invalid. Let's say something. Okay, invalid email or password. I don't know what is happening. Okay, let's try this again. Okay. Let's try this. So here, okay, let's try this one. Okay, it works. So what happened is, like, here, uh, we can comment the rest. I mean, you can try this trial and error, trial and error, trial and error, and try. And sometimes you need to comment the rest of the SQL statement, right? So like, you need to type something for the password, but it doesn't matter what the password is. You can type any garbage, and you can break the statement and comment the rest, right? So it will comment the rest and then execute this. And still, like, if you want, you can put a single quotes here, right? like this, right? So logically, this should be true, right? So you can get in, right? There are multiple the attacks you can do, right? So here you can trial and error, trial and error. You can find so many attack vectors to this, right? So, but like here we can, and it doesn't even matter what you put here, right? It doesn't even matter what you put here. I don't think it matters, right? It doesn't matter, right? Because 1 = 1, it's always true, and it will grab the result. And the actual question is why it is admin at Joseph. That is the question, right? Why it is admin at Josh. So this is kind of a tricky question. So if you're an attacker, you don't care. Like you are like you are in the application and you logged in as admin, and it's a win for you. But if you are a researcher, security researcher, or a secure developer, for example, secure developer, or you're trying to understand what is happening here, right? Then it is important. So why it is admin, Joshua? Why not someone else's account, right? It's even like we already create account. Why not that account? Why it is always admin account, right? So that is something that we need to ask. So the SQL statement works. Okay, so let me try to. Okay, can you guys see the SQL Server Management Studio? Uh,
Yes, we can see.
okay, cool. So I have SQL Management Studio. I'm not sure whether it's a latest one or not, uh, but it doesn't matter. Oh. Okay. Um, let's see whether I can. Let's see whether can. Okay, now. Okay. So SQL servers. Like this one is little hard to see, and I can't remember how to increase the font size. Seriously, I can't remember. Should be under somewhere in query options. No. No. And okay, it doesn't matter. So let's write a simple SQL statement. So I also have a user profile table. All right. All right. So let's assume like okay, this table will not help. Let's get another table. Okay. Say equality table. Right. So this is where like this is a database that I'm using for the system that we saw Thursday. So you can see uh, data, and how do we filter these data? Like we add a where clause, where, and we can add let's say uh, first name equal test, all right? And last name also test, all right? All right. So if you run the query, because of the AND operator, it will select only first name equal to test and last name equal to test, right? But so this is what happens, right? This parameter, someone is injecting something, right? Someone is injecting something. So he will inject like this. See, O, you know, okay, one equal one, and rest of the commands you comment it, right? So let's assume like someone enter in this, and we are going to copy paste and into the first column here. So it will be like this, right? So it will be like this. Okay. So if you run this, right? So you see, if you run only that, right? So this part is commented now, right? So this part is commented. So I think we can run the entire statement if you want to. Yes. So why it is red? Because we have this, right? So you can see now if we inject these two, this will become a different statement. So you can see the last name part is completely commented. Now if we run, you get the entire data set, right? Entire data set. So how normally how the programmers write a logic into this, right? So when he writes a code, how they write the code. This is also important to understand. I believe you guys also do development. I'm also a developer, so we we program in a certain way, right? So what happened is like, let's say when we provide a username and password, we do whatever we wanted to do. Like the application that we show, it has the password first, and then match it. That's the a normal way of doing it. So when we issue that SQL statement, and next thing what we do is we check whether the results are available, right? So we need to check, like we need to issue the SQL statement and see whether we have any matching records in the database, right? If we have matching records, then the username and password is correct, which means the matching user is exists in the database, right? And we assume that okay, it's a valid login. So what will happen is naturally we assume, or like we think only one record is there in the record set, right? So because username is unique in the database, right? Normally that's how it operates. Username is unique in the database, and if the username and password is matching for a record, we think only one record is there, right? But in an attack scenario, it's not the case. So we assume only one record is there, and what happened is we get the we get the output as a result set, and we get the zeroth a record or zeroth position entry of that result set, and get the username and say, okay, this is your username and you logged in as this user, right? So that is what is happening there, right? So when we attack the application, right? When we attack the application, it returns the entire user table, right? And programmer will take the zeroth row, right? Zeroth row, and get the username as what is mentioned in the zeroth row, right? Right? The first row. So unfortunately, the first row is the admin account. So they created the admin account at the first. Right? That is the first record. So all other users are created after that. Right? So unfortunately, that's why it doesn't matter what is the technique you are using to attack skill injection. So when you attack, it will get the admin accounts account, and then you can see the admin accounts basket, right? So I hope that is clear. So if you are a developer, now these are like SQL injection. If you ask from a person how to prevent SQL injection, he will answer like, user input validation, and not concatenating the user inputs to the code directly. All right, this way, or parameterized queries, command objects like those. But if you really consider, you can go beyond that and say, okay, when you are verifying, you need to check whether the return result set has more than one records. If the return result set has more than one records, there is a problem, because we are supposed to get only one. Now we are getting like 10. Then you have to like stop the execution, right? You have to stop the execution and log that incident to a log file, and kill whatever the session and go back to the login page and say invalid username and password, something like that, and show him the login page, right? If you are a good programmer, right? Okay. So the next task is to, I didn't ask this task, but if you know a username of a particular user, how do you get into his basket, right? So I think that is easy. If you blindly attack, you will get into, admin's account. But if you know there is a user, then you can type here, and you can get into his account. So um, if the username is here, so what is the username? I can't remember what we type. Okay, I think this is what we type. Let's try that also. Right. So if you know the username, let's try this and see. Okay, you can do a trial and error. So now it didn't work. So try that, right? Try that also. Let's assume like a particular username, and see how you get into that account, right? So you need to get into that account. Okay. So like you have to get, if you know the username, you have to get into that user's account. Try that also as a task. Right? So trial and error. You do a lot of trial and error, and try it. So I showed you one way, right? So it didn't work. One, right? So comment it. Right? So this doesn't work. Still admin. So try more. Right? Try more combinations and see. It's not that difficult though. Right? Okay. Cool. So that's the two tasks, and we talk about the SQL injection also a little bit more. I believe you understand now. I believe you have a better understanding now about the issue. Uh, and Okay, so and someone asked about the cookies also. Um, so I'm not sure. Like, okay, let me get the okay. So see, the cookies that we talk about, the cookies, right? So cookies, we used to store some data. For example, even authentication cookie. Yeah, we get it's the authentication cookie or authentication token. So it's in a cookie, right? It's about browser side storage. You can store the data, right? But you need to be careful when you are storing the data on the browser side, because anybody can read that data, right? So that's what it is. because it's on the browser side. So if you are storing whether the user is a student or a teacher, I mean, someone can maybe change that the parameter and try to mess with the backend. Right? If you don't have a backend validation, then the attack will work. So um, um, okay, let's see. Okay, let's try to attack again. Right. Uh, so one thing that you can observe cookies is browser developer options. Not sure whether so. Um, Developer tools under storage, you can see the cookies, right? Cookies are related to this site, right? So you have like uh, you know cookie content, and there is another some cookie called IO. I don't know what that is. So these are the things like it's a session cookie. So you can see some cookies, it has a expiration a date and time, and some cookies bind to the session, which means when the session is invalidated, the cookie is no longer valid. And you can see each and every cookie. uh, you can see the flags, right? So HTTP only flag is set to true, and secure flag is not set, right? So you can see it's not set, and you know here also it's false. Um, let's try to log in. I'm really scared now because it got stuck. I don't know why it's got stuck. Okay, let's try this way. Okay, we getting. So you can see there is another a token came in. It's kind of a token. You can see when you logged in, this token came in, right? And you can see secure flag is still not set. Right? HTTP only is false, so which means this cookie is vulnerable for if you want to like client side, if someone try to read this cookie, it's possible, right? Because it's HTTP is not set. But if you look at these cookies, this is also false. So every cookie is, okay, this cookie is HTTP true. You can see it's true, and none of these cookies are set to secure true, right? So these are the issues, right? And most of the apps using these cookies to track your activities. For example, uh, you know uh, your preferences. Let's say like you go to a particular website, let's say Amazon. You search some options, maybe like some book or something, and when you go back to Facebook, they will show you ads, right? Related to the same content. So how they do is like using these cookies, your user preferences and everything, they store on the cookie, and they share the cookies, right? And it's kind of a privacy violation for you guys. So that's why they take like they say like use a incognito mode, a window, like a private window, right? So when you use that, it will limit it to that whatever private window, right? So but we don't do that, right? We just log in with the same browser window for everything. So I mean, if you're concerned about your privacy, I mean, of course, like, if you think about like, I mean, so in generally, like, do you believe there is a something called security? Right? This is kind of a question that we need to ask from ourselves. So we talk about what is security and privacy, confidentiality, everything, right? So, but if you really think about this scenario, operating system is not developed by us. It's a third party, and browser is not developed by us. It's a third party, right? Including this Zoom is not our a product. It's a third party, right? And we talk about securing ourselves. So it's kind of a like it is somewhat like a joke, right? So uh, we have no control over the software, and still we wanted to secure ourselves, right? So yeah, I mean, you can debate, but uh, best thing is to at least get to know about this thing. I mean, these things, and try to protect ourselves as much as possible, right? Okay, so let's look into the mobile part. So I'm not going to go deep in that area. We can quickly cover. And there are like a general information, and I'm not going to get into that. Uh, I'm straight away trying to get into the issues that we have. All right. Okay. Can you guys see the slide?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So the mobile device, now it's even not a mobile device, it's a smart device, all right? And smart device, if you look at the definition, right? So smart device, if you look at the definition, basically it has a processing power and the connectivity, right? So any electronic device uh, which has the processing power and the connectivity. Like if you look at that definition, like most of the devices today are basically smarter than us most of the time, right? And connectivity, if you think about like the protocols available, I mean there are so many: Bluetooth, NFC, Wi-Fi, Li-Fi, 3. I mean, uh, it depends. I mean, difference is like the distance supported by the protocol. For example, NFC is like very close; you have to touch, and Wi-Fi, Li-Fi is kind of a defined radius, right? And Bluetooth also. But the thing is like it has a connectivity and processing power. So even now, like if you think about the automobiles and everything, automobiles also smart now, right? They have the connectivity, and if you look at like there are videos on YouTube, you can uh, search for the topic called car hacking. So there are demos they have done, like someone can remotely hack into your car and disable your brake system, right? Or like take control of your steering wheel and everything, right? So they tested that. I mean, they have these demonstrations done. So this is kind of a smaller version. Smartphone is kind of a smaller version, and the danger is you have your entire life on the device, right? So you have your entire life on the device, and if someone asks your phone for like 5 minutes, you should think about twice, right? Should I give him the phone, because your everything is there, right? So I mean, if you think about your social media, it is there. And if you think about like uh, the financial apps, right? So every bank has an app now. I mean, you can do literally everything. You can do money transferring, payments, and everything, and mobile payments, right? You have mobile payments like QR payments or NFC payments. Like the mobile is connected to your bank account, or like your credit card, debit card. You can connect the mobile and use this, right? And in a way, like why so I put some stats here, but those are very general. If you look at the mobile payment, digital smartphone, using smartphone, this is a India stat from India, right? And it's they are really promoting, and in Sri Lanka also, you can see it's coming into the picture. And why they are like, why India is promoting uh, is because to minimize the corruption, right? So they're trying to reduce the cash, liquid cash, and everybody has to use a card, plastic card, or a smartphone to make the payment. So your money should be there in somewhere like in a bank, so they can audit it, right? so they can audit. And if there's a liquid cash transaction happens, they can track it. So their plan is to minimize the corruption. But Sri Lanka also this is happening, but I don't know whether we have a plan or anything. But it's there. So general issues, if you think about the mobile, and generally encryption, right? So there is no enterprise grade encryption for mobile. I mean standard one, because you can't have a very heavy uh, encryption technology in mobile device, because processing power is limited, memory is limited with small device, right? So most of the time, elliptic curve sort of encryption technology they're talking about, like having the same strength and with the less processing power. So yet to come. So this is one major issue, and physical security, of course, hard to ensure. And you guys know about this, right? You can lose your device at any point, right? But when you lose, let's assume, like, you lost your wallet. Now you know what to do, because your identity card, driving license, and everything is there, and you know what to do. Maybe go to the grammar sale or whatever, like you get the letter, and you call the bank and ask like them to cancel the card and everything. But when you lost, let's say someone steal your mobile phone, and you're not quite sure what to do, right? So probably, I mean, you can like just forget about your mobile device and get another device. But what will happen to those, uh, whatever the crap you install, like your payment cards or whatever, like, payment apps, bank apps, and everything in there, right? So then you have to call those bank and whatever, like, ask them to, I lost my device, right? You have to cancel my account. So really dangerous, and those use cases should be implemented. I'm not sure whether we have that, but those should be there. Like, when you lost your mobile phone, you better go and change your Facebook password immediately. So, and this is the biggest problem, removable media. I think if you look at all those leaked content, we have we had and we have and we will have those content forever, and most of them, those contents, are because of this removable media, right? SD cards and everything. Jailbreaking and routing, believe I mean, you can break the whatever the existing protective mechanism, and get the root access to the device, right? And app store, like anybody can upload, especially the Android, right? iOS a little bit different and tough, but Android you can create an app and upload, right? And of course user friendliness, like very long tokens with lengthy TTL, time to live value, right? So general issues, right? Okay, so some contents. Okay, so I just wanted to show you one. So this is a little bit of comparison um, that we need to understand. So Android is the leader in the market, right? I think you agree with that. I mean, I have Android phone. So if you have an iOS phone, I mean, if you have an iOS phone right now, probably your father or mother purchased it for you, and probably when you do a job you will not buy because it's really expensive, right? But security, if you think about security, the iOS has a better implementation, because Android is very open market, right? And Android is open market, and Android operating system is like customized by the vendors, right? So if you get I mean, if you get like a Samsung phone, the Samsung customized the Android, and you are using the Samsung version of Android, not the Google version of Android, right? So likewise, and if you look at like the market, so Android is the open market, and both iOS and Windows. I don't think we have Windows anymore, but both these are like closed market. Open market is like, you can upload anything to the Play Store, but here iOS, Apple maintain that, and if you want to upload something, you have to register as a developer, and they will provide a key, and you have to use that key to sign the app, and they have a verification process, blah blah blah, right? And you can see vendor sign, self sign. So iOS is a vendor sign application, right? So they will verify and sign, but Android is a self sign, right? And also, like, Java, Android is managed code, right? Okay, so mobile application security issues, if you look at, again, you can go to the OSP mobile top 10, and see, like we talk about, like, insecure data storage. Android application use SQLite, right? SQLite database to store data, and if you root the device, you can go and grab the database, right? And examine uh, that data. So if you are storing any sensitive data on the device, uh, those are not protected, right? Right now it's not protected, right? So you should not assume that the data on the device, or like, on the app database is secure. It's not, basically, right? um, and code tampering is basically, you can reverse engineer the application and modify it, right? And reverse engineering is another problem, right? So we'll see. Okay, we'll see. I believe, okay, let me show you one quick example. I'm trying to give me a second. Okay. Right. Mm, okay, let me share screen quickly. Full screen. Okay, I'm going to share my full screen. Okay. Uh, Hope you see the screen. So, APK file, if you look at APK file, APK file is the setup file for Android, right? So when you install the application from Play Store, whatever, it will basically download APK file and install. So on the device, you have all the APK files belongs to the apps. But with the normal setting, unless you root the phone, you cannot see those APK files. One thing that you can do is, without rooting your phone, rooting your phone is a bad practice, right? So if you're using a phone, do not root it, because you're voiding the manufacturer provided security, built-in security mechanism. So don't do this. If you want to test it, buy a cheap phone, and then, like, do whatever. So don't do that rooted phone for your normal day-to-day work, because it's dangerous, right? Who knows what will happen. So without rooting your phone, if you want to extract, there is another software called APK Extractor. It's available on Play Store, APK Extractor. So install that, and that, using that app, you can get the APK, right? If not, you can download APK. So I have a couple of APK files. So there is a one called ransom. I think it's a ransomware. Uh, so I already extracted that. So uh, I believe it's a ransomware. So this APK file is basically a zip file. So you can unzip it uh, and see, right? Or, like, using zip, WinZip or whatever. right? You can open that file and see, right? So that is possible. So what do you so could not open? Okay, this one is not possible too. But let's say this one. Let's see. So okay, so that works, but this doesn't. I don't know. So this is a zip file, basically. Zip file you can extract, and then you can see what is available. So under assets you can see all the sound files. I mean, whatever used in that APK, and meta-inf, and this one probably used to implement SSL pinning most of the time, right? And whatever available resources. So you can't see the code, but you can see some information, right? That is possible. So if you want to reverse a file, reverse in the file in the sense like, you have the package file, just like, compiled version, and you're trying to get the source code back, right? So it sounds crazy, but uh, one tool that you can use it, this dex2jar. Dex2jar is one tool that you can use, and it's very easy to reverse engineer uh, the file, basically, right? So this is the shell script that you need to run. Um, D2J. Uh, let's see. Okay, and I think the D is the flag for decompile, right? So and it's basically decompiling, and some errors also there, but we don't need to care about it. So this is and it will create a jar file uh, uh, after decompiling. It will create a jar file. It's not creating like a huge source file, but it's creating a jar file. Now to open this jar file, there's another tool uh, called JDGUI. So this is another tool, right? And it is also a jar file. So how to run a jar file? Java jar JDGUI. So it should run. Okay. Yeah. Now let's open that ransom. All right. So this is the ransom. So this is the ransom. Now this is not like the exact code, but you can read it, right? Um, so you have classes. So this is a ransomware. I mean, you can analyze this, right? So if you're trying to analyze this completely, it will take time. So I don't know what that is. I mean, so you can read the logic and try to understand. Probably this is a ransomware, so which means like it if it get infected and try to encrypt your whatever files, probably using a public key, private key for this, and ultimately it should communicate to the backend. Uh, And if you want more samples, you can download always. There are like online, but be careful. Like do not install anything on your device or whatever. But you can download, and better to download it to a VM and then analyze. So. So you can see, encrypt and decrypt service classes are there. So, so you can see the algorithm also is available, right? Advanced encryption and cyber block chaining and PKCS5 padding. It's using everything is there. All right. Okay, so it's pretty clear. And decrypting service also available. I don't know why. So you can see it's using salt and everything. I mean, yeah. So this way, like you can spend some time and analyze. Right? So malware analysis is a great area, but we don't have that level of specialization in Sri Lanka yet. But maybe, but you have that in India, right? So that is something that we need to. So that is using the JDGUI, so you can download. The other method is using the APK tool, right? So when you reverse from APK tool, right? So we already have this one and this one. So it will create a folder um, with a different format called Smalley, right? Smalley format. Uh, Sounds like a girl's name, but it's not. It's just a format, right? So it's just a format, Smalley format. Uh, Advantage of this Smalley format is little hard to understand. Like it's not uh, very familiar. So this is the format. It's little hard to understand, uh, and it's not difficult also, right? So the advantage is like you can change this here. If you understand what is happening, you can do changes, modification, and you can repackage. So right, um, which means like you can do modifications. So let's say like you have some if conditions or whatever, like let's say like if it is a game or something, you want to avoid restrictions, so you decompile to a Smalley format, and you comment that validation whatever, so you recompile and repackage, right? And you can run it. Okay, so that's the advantage of this Smalley thing, right? Okay, so that is a reversing option. And emulator, I think anybody use. So Genymotion is sort of a emulator that we can use. Android Studio also has an emulator, right? Emulator is basically the environment that you can run your Android application. Uh, so uh, continue. I don't need to. Uh, so it looks like the phone. So you can create an emulator, and you can basically connect to the device and install the app, and see how it runs. And also you can proxy, right? So that is the most important thing. You can proxy the traffic. I- of course, like your device also you can do, but you have to root your device to do that, right? So normally how to proxy, like it's easy. So you go to the network setting, Wi-Fi, think here. Can't remember. Okay, see, you can see proxy is already set, like so normally it says null, so you have to go manually and manually select proxy, right? And then you can basically receive traffic, right? So if you have a burp suit, yeah. Only thing is, like if you're using a actual device, then you should your PC and your mobile device should connect to the same network. So which means like if it is a Wi-Fi, the same Wi-Fi. Otherwise, your phone cannot understand. So what is this the IP? All right. So okay, whatever. Okay, 168.68.1. Okay, so this is what it is. So we can run, and, we can intercept on, right, and we can set the view. Yeah, so we can browse. So we can see we're getting traffic. uh, So that way, like you can try to browse. The only thing is like the Google is SSL. So basically, this on the device, it is not trusting the middle guy. Right? So for the device, you need to install the actual certificate, right? Without that, you cannot, because it's I think net gossip or something. So if you find any HTTP website, you can browse. You can see HTTP is fine. HTTPS you cannot. Why? Because it's SSL, right? It's HTTPS. You cannot break the connection. So then you can ask the question like, from the browser we observe, like dialog site we observe, right? So you can ask the question like why it is possible, right? So let's go into that, but I just wanted to show this quickly. Sorry. Um, Emulator. So try this with the emulator. Try installing an APK and try to capture the traffic and see. So let's get rid of this. Okay. And okay. So before we go into later, let's talk about this. The capturing traffic thing, right? I just wanted to explain that. Right. So let's say like loopback address. Let's change to loopback, and let's change the browser settings. Like this is what we did, right? Create a setting and proxy, and let's change it to okay. Port it's set. Okay. So now it's fine. Uh, let's intercept on for a minute, and let's go to Google. Okay, so we get traffic already. Okay. So why this is loading now? This is loading, right? So let's try dialog. Dialog.lk. I think that is the future today, right? So this is, you can see it's basically HTTPS, right? But we can capture, right? So like I think we already saw this. So username and password, right? And login. Don't say it. So that is not dialog. Where is dialog? Okay, so this is dialog. This is dialog. You can see clearly username and password in plain text, right? And you can see this is HTTPS. So now you should have the question like, The whole purpose of HTTPS is to make sure that no one in the middle can observe the traffic or read the traffic, right? But right now we are we are like reading it in plain text, right? So this is the browser and dialog server. Firefox is sitting in between a browser and the dialog server, and we are monitoring the traffic, right? And we see username and password in plain text, right? So what is the problem? Is this a HTTPS problem? No, it's not. So if you look at, so this is also like important, right? Now when you're using a public internet or a public Wi-Fi hotspot or something, right? You need to make sure to verify the certificate, right? So you can see uh, it's basically highlighting this connection is not as not secure. Now it is right. Okay. So if you look at uh, the certificate, right? So you can see it says verified by force figure, right? You see the name verified by force figure, and even if you go to Google and see the certificate, right? It says verified by force figure, right? But actually, if you go to let's say like some other browser, so this is I'm going to Chrome, right? And I'm going to go into dialog, right? So let's see the certificate. Right? Okay, here. So you can see it's issued by digital cert, right? So issued by digital cert. So but on our Firefox, it's saying some pause figure, right? Pause figure, right? So if you look at more information, you can see issue name pause figure, right? But you know the actual one, because we proxied this. I mean, we proxied this window through burp suite. Chrome is not a proxy. Now in Chrome, this is not a proxy to burp suite, right? So if you look at here the certificate, right, the Google certificate, it says issued by Google itself, right? But our uh, uh, you know the Firefox one says force figure, right? So what happened here is basically this Firefox browser is basically tampered, so it's not secure basically. So what happened is we put we in the sense I put the post figure root certificate into the browser. Post figures root certificate issued by this, right? So this burp suite is created by a company called post figure, right? And that certificate is inserted here. So how to insert a certificate? I mean, if you are like monitoring traffic with Fiddler or a SAP, you have to put the root certificate into the browser. So here under settings, you have a certificate, right? So here authorities, under authorities, you have all the root certificates, right? So what happened is whenever you browse HTTPS website, browser will get the certificate, right? Certificate, and see whether the certificate is signed by uh, authority, right? The defined authority, we call it certificate authority. Uh, Browser will check whether the certificate of the browser is signed by a valid certificate authority, right? So valid certificate authority is where the browser got the list of valid certificate authorities, right? It's not a rocket science. Browser already got the valid certificate authorities, and they will check against that. So here, if you look at, we already add this post figure as a valid certificate authority, right? So How to do that? I mean, you have to download the root certificate from whatever Fiddler or SAP or something, and import. Right? It's very simple. So if it is burp, how to get the burp certificate? So it's very easy. When you proxy through burp, you can type HTTP burp, right? So you can see a certificate, and you can see it's a dir file, X509 certificate, and you can download. This is the certificate that you need to import. So here also, like, you can import directly, but we don't need to. But for the browser, you can import, right? So that's what it is. So we break, basically what happened is from browser, from this Firefox browser uh, to the burp suite, encryption will happen using the burp certificate, right? Burp public key. That's why burp suite can decrypt that traffic and show us in plain text. And from burp to the dialog server, it will use a dialog public key, right? I hope it's clear for you. And it's just very simple, like, just understand. I believe you know this public key, private key, how the encryption happens. um, so that's how this entire scenario happens. Otherwise, I just wanted to explain today, otherwise you'll get confused when you try to capture the traffic for HTTPS. It will not work unless you add the certificate to the browser, like I showed you. So Firefox is very easy to do these things. That's why, like, most of the people, they use Firefox for their security testing. It's very a plain browser, right? Okay, so some of the edge cases now. I believe this hard code sensitive information. So if you hard code something in the source code, you can, someone can reverse and get it, like, you know uh, whatever these secret keys or private keys, any sensitive information, you should not hard code, because, like, people can get it, people can reverse the app and get it, right? So those things. And the testing guide, if you want, I will share this slide deck, don't worry. So testing guide, you have here, and Dextuja and everything, like, we talk about. And who signed this. If you installed Android, you will get a APK signer utility, and you can see who signed the app, right? So this is, I think this is the Facebook app. Yeah, so it's signed by Facebook. So if you like, let's say, like, you have an app in App Store, and what we do is normally we install it on the device. So instead of doing that, I mean, installing it on your actual device, you can install it on a different device, or maybe, like, you can extract the APK and verify who signed it, right, first before you install it. So that is possible. And some of the privacy violations. So we talk about this privacy. The mobile device is the number one thing which violates the privacy, and which is a causing problem, or which is a threat for our privacy. And so many issues with this, right? And some issues we don't even know that is the issue. For example, you know uh, these workout apps, right? This is the best example, right? So Strava, like, I believe maybe you guys are using this. So people using this, for cycling and everything. But it is violating our privacy. Basically, everybody knows that the route that we are traveling, every day, and with the time and everything, right? So you can see, if you want to attack this particular person, you can pick somewhere here. You can see there's a small forest here. So you pick this place, and you can rob the guy, right? So basically, the time is all, everything is there. So you can attack the guy, right? So and these stupid games also violating privacy, right? And still we don't care. Okay, so I included some best practices here. Always, like, encrypt your device. Uh, especially the removable media, right? And most of the time what happened is like we give the mobile phone for repairing. That's how most of the content got leaked. You give the device to repair, and that guy get the whatever that removable media and copy everything, right? That's how. So make sure that be careful on those things. And if it is an organization, you can go with mobile device management. And so in our organization also we have this Intune app, so that separates organization apps from other apps, and remote wiping and those capabilities. Even Android has that capability, but I'm not sure whether that works. I never tested that. Okay, so just wanted to touch base on these components. The mobile device, just wanted to give you a high level idea about what basically APK file is and how to reverse engineer that, and how to look into the code and all that. So very high level. So that's all I got for today. And I believe you have a better understanding now, and keep practicing these issues, and try to develop knowledge on your own. And if you have any questions, let me know. I think my email address. And there's another question I just wanted to it's like a couple of people asked like how to get into. So this is a general question that students and even the young professionals ask, how to get into this field. So just wanted to add some comment on that. If you look at the security field, is a kind of a specialization track. Um, and when you try to get into the field, most of the time they request some sort of a experience, and like it's not always, but some people, like they start their career as security people. But some people, because they're extremely lucky, so they sometimes they get into internship or something in the security team, and then they start working on that, and they hire them or something like that, right? So if not, its best thing is to get some experience on a particular track. It doesn't matter what is the track, maybe a development or quality engineering, network, or like anything, because that fundamental knowledge is required for this I mean any specialization track, right? Especially the security. So if you analyze any security defects or security loopholes, you should be able to understand the system first, right? So if you are a developer, then like how the developers work, and what is the source code, how to look into the source code, basically those things, right? If you're a network guy, you know about the network and the tools you're using in the network and all everything. So then it's very easy for you to like get into this field and carry on your duties or like the task and things like that. But it's not a mandatory thing. That is my idea. So because I came from development background, so it was very easy for me. And I know some people came from network background, and some people came from audit background, right? So they are very good in GRC, and some people came from database background, and they are very good with this database related issues and data privacy and that area, because they know about the database designing and everything, right? So and also the truth is, uh, security jobs are very limited. That is also there, right? I mean, we don't have like thousands of jobs. uh, Jobs are very limited. First, I have to tell the truth, right? Jobs are very limited. I mean, within PSN, like we have very small team for like we have 800 development team, and we have in Sri Lanka, and we have like a 30 entire 30 people, like if you count the entire team, 30 people. Application security 2 people, right? So like limited. And that's why, like y- like if you want to get into the field, it's fine, you keep that in your mind, and you know get into some other field like development or QA. If you're lucky, you will get into the information security field straight away. But if not, start with some other track and develop your skills and maybe security knowledge and do some certifications maybe, and then you can get into the security field. So I just wanted to send that message. So thank you very much.
Uh, Thank you very much, sir. We have few other questions.
Sure.
The first question is, what are the best online vulnerable sites to practice these activities? Or are there any online platforms available specifically for this?
Okay. Like I said, please don't go and mess with our government websites, right? And most of the time it will work. Your attacks will work, like I said, and it is a criminal offense. So online sites, vulnerable sites. This juice shop is the best thing that I have seen so far, because it's you can deploy it to Heroku without any problem. But other than that, most of the vulnerable stuff are in virtual machines. You can download and deploy somewhere and attack. And OSP, other than OSP Juice Shop, they have WebGoat. There is a one app, but that is not online. But if you look at online, there is a uh, there is a guy called Troy Hunt. He's one of the best speaker in security field. Troy Hunt. He got a site called. Let me try to search for that. See whether we can find that. So Troy Hunt has a site. He created uh, a site just like the one I created. Uh, I mean, sophisticated than that one. So you can practice with that site as well. Not sure. So I can't find the site, but okay, I think I'll ping his site URL in the chat. Probably you can search for him, his site, and see what is his hacking site. So he got best thing. If you can do, best thing is to develop your own thing. So then you get like development skills, database skills, security skills, testing skills, everything you will get, right? I mean, you got time. Like how many years? Like this is, I believe this is second or third year you have. I mean, you got time. Start developing, and you get like great experience with that. But if not, like there are online content available. But most of the vulnerable sites are not online because otherwise everybody will start attacking and they have to maintain and everything. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Moving on to the next question.
Sure.
Um, can't we use hashing for both username and password?
Hmm.
If so, will it solve SQL injection problem in signing?
Okay. Good question. Really good. We need to understand these two things, right? SQL injection is something else. SQL injection is basically we are trying to mess with user parameters in SQL queries we have written in the code. Encryption, or I mean hashing, is solving a different security problem. So hashing is basically is one way, right? When you hash something, you can't reverse it. I believe you know. So if you look at a password, something like password, you have to hash it because nobody needs to know about the password, right? Even the user or even the database have know what. So that's why like you hash the password. If you hash the username, uh, which is not really good because username should be available uh, for everyone. Username is basically the username. It's not a secret. Username is basically not a secret. Most of the time, it's not a secret. So most of the time, sites, it will be your email address. Everybody knows about your email address. Password is the thing like you need to remember, right? So you know hashing will not, simple simple answer is hashing will not solve the SQL injection, right? So, but you can try to prevent the login page issue uh, with hashing. But hashing username is if you hash the username, you will get into more functionality problems than the security problem. So literally you can't hash the username. But yes, if it is possible, then you can try to prevent it, just like the example that we saw. Maybe we can prevent it. But the actual problem is not with hashing. Actual problem is like you are basically uh, taking untrusted user input and putting into your SQL statement. So that's the SQL injection problem, right? Cool.
Okay, sir. The next question. In Sri Lanka, are there any job opportunities available in digital forensics?
Okay. Yes, we have, but again, like it's really limited. So digital forensics, even in Pearson, we have a forensic analyst available, especially with SOC, and there's another team called threat investigation and digital forensics. So very limited for entire Pearson. I believe we have two, because like we need forensic people when something goes wrong, right? So then only, like you have to go and do the analysis. But in Sri Lanka, like SL cert, they're doing forensics. So if you look at the institutions who are doing forensics, you can understand the picture. So SL cert is doing forensics, and TechCert is doing forensics, right? Colombo University is doing forensic, as far as I know, right? And if you look at the industry, these forensic fields, it's very like it's a beginner level. Even in Sri Lanka, the forensic industry is in beginner level. I mean, as far as I know, because it's very limited. Like only few cases. You know, Where it's limited. I believe you understand. It's limited. So that's what I said. Like you learn the track, you master the track, but maybe you will not get a job opportunity immediately. But you know, keep developing your skills, and maybe one day you will get a better. But forensic analysts, because like limited job opportunities and limited people, they get like really high salary and all that. Right?
Another question.
So
Um, how do we know if our mobile device or Windows laptop is hacked or not?
okay. That's a good question. Yeah. How do we know we got hacked, right? Most of the time we don't. That's the dangerous thing, right? So because if it is a real attacker or criminal, they will make sure, they will do everything to make sure that nobody knows they did hacking, right? So some organizations, they realize, I mean, I'm talking about the really like top level organizations. They realize they got hacked after some time, like after like some time doing during the audit. Only they realize that okay, something happens. And I believe, like if you read about these reports, they said like we don't know when we got hacked, and we don't know exactly what is the damage, most of the time. uh, if it is a really good attacker and sophisticated attacker, right? So other than that, most of the time, if you got hacked, they install backdoors or malwares onto the device. And but if it is you and me, there's nothing from us to like steal, right? I mean, on your laptop, what is there? Is there anything like really important? I don't think so. Our laptops we don't have. So most of the time, what they do is use our processing power. Right? That's what they do. So they hacked into our laptops and they install some software and use our processing power for their whatever the purpose, like Bitcoin mining or whatever. So in that case, we can experience like our computer is busy all the time, and high usage, high memory usage for no reason, right? So then like sometimes like we get to know, okay, something is wrong and something is not correct. So in that case, probably you can do a little bit of analysis, and you can see what are the processes are running. If something is there like you don't know what it is, probably you can see what that process is and everything, and you can see what is taking a memory and all that, right? So you can drill down to that whatever that particular process and search about it. And also like sometimes like you can see what are the changes, recent changes happen to the computer, and analyze and see okay, is there something happen or not, or like you can analyze the logs, event logs, or error logs. So that way like you can try to detect, um, but most of the time if they install malware or something, if you have a good virus guard or endpoint protection, probably it will be able to capture it. So if it is I mean, I don't know, like if it is your personal computer, I mean, if you are not so sure about it, most of the time what we do is we format the device. So if it is a office computer, so normally what we do is we give it to the IT department, and they will do a full. That is where like, the forensic comes into play. So they will take an image and do a forensic analysis and see what happened and all that, right? Mobile device also the same, right? So if your device is acting funny, that you know that okay, something is wrong.
Uh, the next question.
Sure.
Is it possible to view SSL traffic on Wireshark using the same technique you explained with Burp Suite Firefox method?
No. You can't because Firefox is not breaking the traffic. Firefox is basically a packet capture. It will capture the packet. That's it. And but in a browser traffic, we just get the layer 7 traffic, and we can use the certificate and decrypt it. But Wireshark we can't. It's just a packet capture. So it will show the encrypted traffic.
I think this is our last question for the day.
Sure.
How can we make our own red team?
Okay. So our own red team. Okay, for an organization, or like what is the purpose? Uh, any detail? Okay, so let's say
Uh,
red team, right? So let's talk about red team. So red team is basically the extreme level, like a pen test team. Like you go and attack the system, and in every possible way. So it's just a term they use for activity, right? Otherwise no, it's the same like pen testing, but you have a team with a lot of specialized people. So pen testing also, there are like specialization tracks, right? Some people uh, they are really good with network stuff. Some people they are really good with the application security and all that, right? Some people they're really good with developing exploits and everything, right? So simply like you get like a really good professional team, and you're trying to attack a particular system, right? So that's basically red teaming is basically the activity name. And so basically you're trying to really attack the system. So how to create a red teaming? So you need to become like really skillful, so you can play all the roles, or else like if you are looking for a company, you need to find out really skillful people. I mean, you guys can become a red team. So develop some grade level. I mean, you are doing red teaming activities not for like hacking purposes, but some other activities. Like for example, let's say there's a extremely pretty girl. So you want to go, you guys want to go and talk to her. So it's kind of a red teaming activity. Like you gang You get couple of people, and you get experts, and get the other. You need to talk to her how to do that, how to approach. So as a team, and you go and you approach. So that is kind of a red teaming activity, right? So you're good with this. So only thing is, like, we want to focus on information security rather than going behind the girl, right? So same goes with the same concept. You know about the area or the subject, master the area, and you get bunch of people, and you guys go on and hacking into the target. So if you look at the other, like, you know that, like, the countries hacking of the countries, like, for example, China is basically want to hack everybody. Pakistan and India is, and Singapore, Malaysia, they are hacking, and Sri Lanka, we are just watching, right? Others are hacking. So what they do is they basically you know set up a team and gather all the information, and sometimes they develop custom exploits also, right? So what we do is basically uh, download some exploit someone else develop, and use it, right? That is called script kidding, right? Just like a kid, you just download some crap on the net, and you run it. Most of the time we can't even run it, right? We have so many issues. So that is not hacking, right? That is not hacking, that is just script kiddie, like, you act like a child. So what we did today, basically analyzing, right? We just analyze the error log and see, okay, password hash, which is a best practice and all that. So that is the real hack. I mean, very basic, but that is actual hacking. So when you develop that skill, so you can write your own exploits. You can analyze the behavior. So you can't do that within couple of minutes, just like in movies. It will take months. But if you think about the US and Russia, so they spend months and months and years to develop these vulnerabilities and hacking each other, right? So if you read about these Stuxnet, right, or the virus, like, Flame kind of attacks, Flame, the malware. So they took like years of years, effort and develop. So red teaming is basically, activity. I mean, if you want to, you know gather professionals around you, and build a team. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that was the final question.
Sure.
So I think now it's time for us to wind up the session for today. So before that, I would like to give a small notice to the participants. The feedback form for today's session will be put up on the chat. And also, uh, don't forget to fill the feedback form, as we will give a certificate to those who have filled the feedback form on both days. And also, you can scan the QR code on the screen now and directly go to the feedback form. So, as today have come to an end, I would like to invite the chairperson of IET on campus, Mr. Darshu Udanga, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Kulani. Since we are at the end of this remarkable session, Secure was today's interactive workshop. As the president of IET on Campus University of Peradeniya, I would like to thank our guest speaker, Engineer Thushara Deshapriya, for humbly accepting our invitation to do this workshop on ethical hacking. Even without any prior connection with our society, he was eager to work with us without any hesitations. Therefore, we wish you success in your future ambitions and career as well. Please accept this token of appreciation on behalf of the organizing committee.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Then I must thank Dr. Sudhira Navaratna, the Senior Treasurer of IT on Campus University of Peradeniya, and Dr. Tharinda Veerakon, the Advisor of RAS Society University of Peradeniya, for all their advice and guidance. Next, my sincere gratitude goes to IET and RAS committees for their hard work. I would like to specially thank Mr. Primash Morapitia, the chairperson of RAS, for suggesting this amazing idea, and our event coordinator, Mr. Pulasti Pereda. Finally, I would like to thank all of you who had given your valuable participation for this event in both days to make our event a success. Thank you.